Hey guys, it's me, Cali. Today I'm going to share with you my process for creating my September Mission Inspiration art journal page. Every month, Mike Deakin hosts an art journal challenge at his Mission Inspiration Facebook group, and they issue a list of prompts as well as color suggestions and word prompts, and based on those suggestions, you create a page. And I've been doing this for a while now, and I really enjoyed this month's page, and I think you're going to enjoy it as well. So stick around and I'll show you how I did it. Let's get started. As per usual, I'm using my Delusions journal by Ranger. I've already prepped the page with some masking tape and a coat of white gesso. I have a pair of gloves on because our first prompt is to create a background with alcohol and ink. And the suggested colors for this month's mission are potting soil, which is brown, aquamarine, and vermilion, which is kind of a reddish orange. So I tried to come close. I'm going to use some of my Dr. P.H. Martin ink as well as this Adirondack ink by Tim Holtz. I have Stream, which is kind of a blue-green, and this cranberry might be close to vermilion, but we'll try. I also have some 91% rubbing alcohol and some pipettes that we can use, as well as this spray bottle, which I have the rubbing alcohol in here as well. So I'm just going to spritz our page with this rubbing alcohol first, just to get it nice and wet. And let's just begin by dropping some of this cranberry, and I'll try to mix up a few other shades. Oh yeah, very cool. And you can spray on top of that too, just to really spritz it up. Let's go in with this Stream, which is kind of a greeny. That looks kind of ultramarine, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't always follow the suggested colors, but I figured, why not today? And let's try some of our Bombay ink here. I thought we could maybe do a little mixing. Let's try to make a vermilion with some red and orange. And I learned something about vermilion. It's actually made from crushed up cinnabar. Alright, we'll just take a little bit of that. Try not to make too much of a big mess. And then some of our red. Mix that there, and then you know what, I'll actually use the pipette to just kind of drop that here. Oh, it's just rolling off the page. See, this acts a little different than the alcohol ink. Interesting. Okay, and the only one I'm kind of scared that we didn't use. You know what, let's do some more blue with the P.H. Martin. Let's try this teal. It's kind of close to ultramarine, isn't it? And we'll do some drops of that. Just go right in. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, that's funny. It's just running on the page, probably because of the gesso, I'm imagining. Interesting. Interesting. Squirt it again. That can never hurt. Spread it around. This guy really wants to run here. I'm just going to kind of tilt this page a little bit. Not too much. Okay. I didn't do any of the brown. I'm just afraid we're going to really muddy it up. Should I go for it? You know what? I'm going to let this dry a little bit, this red and blue here, and then we'll get brave and come back and do some brown. I'll see when this looks pretty cool right now, I think. And I haven't added the brown yet, but I just played around and splotched some more. I did go in with a little of the magenta as well. So let's add some brown just to cover it up. This is the only brown I have, so I'm just going to go in with a pipette and we'll do some splotches, and then I'll hit it with the alcohol ink spray. I actually really like the look of purple and brown together, so I'm not too afraid. And again, this is only our first prompt, so let's give this a nice squirt. And I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of run it down the page. And play with it back and forth a little bit. Okay. So we'll come back when that's nice and dry and they finish mowing the lawn. And then our second prompt is to paint without a brush. So I'll have to figure out what we're going to do there. We'll see. I think this looks pretty good. It's nice and dry now. And like I said before, our next prompt is to paint without a brush. So I figured, why not use some bubble wrap? And I'm going to go in with this DecoArt Elegant Finish metallic paint in Glorious Gold. I use these a lot. And I'm just going to take the paint from the lid and try not to have too much paint on our bubble wrap. So I'm going to put some on here, and then I have a book that I just put old paint and stamping on, so I'm just going to get rid of some of that paint there, and then go in on our page and kind of randomly leave some gold, which I think looks amazing with these jewel tone colors. I haven't even had to re-dip. I think that might just be enough. Gorgeous. I'm pretty happy with that. What do you think? Is that enough painting without a brush? I think so. One dip. Okay, guys, let's let that dry. How well you can see that. I've been playing around with the settings on the webcam to try to get more accuracy in the colors, but it's a whole dance of lighting and everything else. So, alright, let's let that dry, and our next prompt is going to be to use a household item. So let me look around for one of those, and I'll see it in... Okay, so prompt 3 is to use a household item, and I've used this often in the past. It's a piece of a silicone pot holder, and it has this really great hexagon pattern on it, and it makes for a really cool stamp. So I just pulled out some black StazOn ink. It's permanent, it's easy to work with, and we're going to use it. So I'm just gonna stamp around. I don't even know if we're gonna be able to see this, but we're gonna try. Oh yeah, it's subtle, but it's there. This thing works with every page. I've never had it not work. Let's see if I can get it where you guys can actually see it, maybe. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Alright, so I'm going to randomly scatter this about the page, and not do too much, but just enough. And then we can move on to the next prompt, which is to create a resist with a gel medium and a stencil. So I think we've pretty much covered up our page here. Let me go get my gel medium and a stencil, and I'll meet you back here. To create a resist with gel medium and a stencil. So I grabbed some of my Liquitex gel medium, and I wasn't sure what stencil to use, so I grabbed this one. This is a really old one from an old jelly roll journal I used to have, and I'm going to use the spiral. So I'm going to just put down a few, not too many. I'm gonna just kind of smear this on here, and I have a little spatula, so I'll probably do, I don't know, a few of these. I'm trying not to get anything except the spiral, but I like this stencil because it's really sturdy plastic, but I don't use it that often. So isn't that cool? And that'll dry nice and raised. So I'll show you one more and then I'll continue off camera, but I'm just going to kind of put them all over. Okay, so we'll see when they're down. The prompt is to spray, drop, or blow on ink, and I've decided to use these Delusions ink sprays. I may regret this because these are not permanent, but I don't have any vermilion. I didn't want to use blue or brown, so I think we'll combine this orange and magenta. I don't know, you guys. I'm just going to give it a shot. Let's start out with the orange and see where that takes us. And I'm not going to put it through a stencil or anything. I'm just going to spray it. Hopefully hit some of those white spirals. Actually, I will intentionally hit them. I don't know. I don't hate it. Kind of cool. Can you guys see this all right? Alright, and I'm just going to go with the plan. This is Funky Fuchsia. Oh. I don't know. It's getting darker. And a little more orange on top, just why not? Like I said, I may regret this because we have a few more steps, but it's definitely, I'm not hating that. We'll see. It'll lighten up when it dries too, so let's see where that takes us before we move on. We have 3 more prompts to go. So the next one is to add a geometric shape or 2. Maybe I'll take a look around and see what I got. I'll meet you back there. Overnight. And it's definitely looking a lot more vermilion, don't you think? I really am kind of liking this color combo here. So let's cover it up. Our next prompt was to add a geometric shape or 2. I went into my stash and I found some book page that I had already painted yellow on, and I just sprayed some of the same Delusion sprays. Actually I have 2 of these. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. And I'm going to cut it down by ripping the edges and try to fit it to size this way. Alright, and I figured I'll do the same on all the sides. I'm going to make it smaller. And then in the middle, same thing, I'm going to rip the edges. I got this piece in some Happy Mail, and it's actually printed on some dictionary page as well. I love it. I'm going to lightly tear these edges too, just to make them rough. And then I'm going to I'm going to use my DecoArt matte medium to glue them down, trying not to reactivate this ink down here. So let me play around with those a little bit and get those down, and then I'll be back and show you where rectangles. And I kind of went back and forth with the placement. I was putting it off center and down here, and I went right back to the middle. So what are you going to do? And I also saved the scraps from ripping these edges. And I know it's not one of the prompts, but I may just at the end glue these around the edges for a border, which I think will pull together this edge here and kind of make everything a little cohesive. So I have a bunch of those, and if I decide to do that, I'll use some Aleene's clear tacky glue. Again, I'm trying not to reactivate all the ink underneath, but I like it. Hey Mikey. So our next step is to use some metallic shimmer or glitter, and I have decided to use my metallic Rub and Buff. This is in antique gold, and this is just a wax, and I usually just put some on my finger. A little goes a long way, you guys, so very sparingly. And I thought maybe to highlight some of these spirals, and not go over it completely. It's actually getting more on the page than I thought it would. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of go around and try to catch these edges a little bit. Alright. Not too much. We have enough shimmer with the gold paint. We are almost done, you guys. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for that prompt. It'll look nice when the light catches it. And I'm not going to read too much into it there. Alright. And our last prompt, which I have to admit I have been giving a lot of thought to through the whole challenge, because with these challenges you know what's coming next. And the very last prompt is to add an element from nature. And I really went back and forth with leaves and feathers and dried flowers. And what I've decided, I just took some twigs from my yard and broke them up. These are rather small. I don't know how they're gonna make it through living in my journal, but I'm going to glue them down, kind of incorporate into her tree here. So she's leaning on the tree, and I thought I would just add some of these sticks to the page. What do you think? I think it could be cool. Again, I don't know how it's going to last when everything's closed up, especially this big thick one here, but maybe I'll break that down a little smaller. I am going to use my Aleene's. I was going to break out the hot glue gun, but I think it'll be a little too much. So that's what I'm going to do for the last prompt. And like I said, I've decided I am going to glue down these strips around the border edges. And when I'm done with all that gluing, I'll come back and I'll show you the finished project or product. And I may put a coat of gloss on it. So see when I'm done gluing. This page started out very slow for me and has finished really quickly. So I just went ahead. I didn't use the larger branch. It just was too bulky, and I knew that, you know, it would shortly be off the page. So I decided to just break up some of the branches that I had and kind of place them about there. And then I took a Stabilo pencil and outlined the spirals and this frame here, and then I just activated it with a water brush to kind of fade it out a little bit, and I think that always pulls the page together well. And I also went around the outside edge with the black Stabilo pencil as well. And then, because I was on a roll, I just went ahead and I took out my Americana. This is in matte. I didn't do a glossy finish this time, and I gave it a quick spray, and here you have it. So What do you think, guys? I really enjoyed myself this time. I had no idea where we're going to wind up, but here we are. And give me a thumbs up if you like this page. Give me 2 thumbs up if you're an Alice in Wonderland fan. Make sure you check out the links below. Go see Mike Deakin over at Mission Inspiration, and I'll see you next month with another page. Take care, guys. Peace and love.